All right, so moving on now. Let's finally talk. Sorry, about the old guard. So
Okay.
I will. Right. So I want you, Ricardo, to do the intro for this. Right. So right off the bat, never read the comics, not familiar with this
Yeah, me
world, with
neither.
this story, with this character at all. I did watch the trailer for this though because I mean it was just not so much trending, but it was just all up in my face. Then it's like Netflix and hey, Charlize Theron, right? McGill from stuff like Mad Max Fury Road, Atomic Blonde, and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
it's all right, another action movie, but it's on Netflix and it's started to okay, let's see what this have to offer. I watched the trailer and what I got there was sort of pretty much like a Highlander vibe, where
Right.
it's about characters, not just a character, who are quote unquote immortal, right? But they hear the real world, kicking ass, shooting people down, and it's just a matter of why they do it this for, basically, right? So, yes, I was seeing like people reviewing it, people like praising it and all that kind of stuff, and I was just like, all right, let me not have expectations too high as yet, because I'm not sure what to expect from this one. Let me just go in as blind as I can, kinda. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did here with this movie here. So Ricardo, you familiar at all with the source material, or you just went in
Nope.
blind like I did?
Well, I kind of knew it was a comic, kind of, but that was about it. I never read the comic, don't know about it, so it's like whatever. Uh yeah. So it's well, Charlize Theron plays another Andy, Andromeda Say is her name or something like that. Some old
I
Greek thing. She's very
Yeah, Andromache. Yeah,
yeah,
Andromache, sorry. Yeah. But they
right,
call that
Andromeda.
Andy for
Right.
Andy for sure. Right.
Right. So she is very, very old, and for some reason she figured out that she was, for some reason, I don't know if the comic explained it, but for some reason they're immortal.
Right.
And it has some good people in this. So it's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Kiki Lane, who was in
right,
one of our favorite shows, If Only Bill She Could Talk. I was like,
right,
oh yeah, she was in that. Right,
right.
right, right.
So yeah, they get people, and it's Highlander but mercs, right? So it's people who she find other immortals. If the immortals are away from each other, they just dream about each other for some reason.
Which is
And
weird and they don't explain, but whatever.
well, again, the comic, or if they get a part two, go explain it, right? If they make money, right? And so she find another woman who is immortal like her. Then they find another person who immortal like them, and I think he dies because they could find out that the immortals could lose their immortality at some point, and they just live forever. But they still living forever. Then they eventually find a bunch of others, and they have a bunch of good bits with that. And then eventually, like the friend goes missing. Well, she gets sent on an Iron Maiden and gets sent down in to drown for like
Yeah.
forever. So she get like, kind of tortured, whatever it is. And yeah, then they find the new character, just I think Afghan vet or soldier, Iraqi soldier, American soldier, who figure out she's also immortal. And then the big plot line is generic pharmacological company,
Yep.
pharmaceutical company, basically want to find them to find out the secret. That's it. To figure out immortality and cure problems, because she was allergic for wife died from what, cancer, I think, I forget.
Yeah, it was cancer.
Right. And then he his colleague, who is evil and want to make money or just power, not sure, kind of generic. He want to grab them and make them like permanently prisoners just to eventually study them forever. And that's it.
Right.
Not as bad as Warrior Nun.
Okay, I was about to ask that.
Yeah, not as much as Warrior Nun, but still pretty forgettable. Still pretty generic, but still not bad. Good action, fine.
Yeah.
It's something not gonna be in theaters and it's kind of come and gone.
Well, yeah, here's the thing, right? Well, sorry to cut you there.
Right.
So I'll just do my review here, right? So speaking of, it should have been in theaters. I actually disagree though, like because of this the presentation, like you're right, it could have been, but I'm glad in retrospect that but I'm glad in retrospect that it wasn't, because for me, as I mentioned, Warrior Nun, this to me, and this is not me talking bad about the show, it feels like a series premiere of, well, if the old guy was a Netflix series, this would have
Right.
been like the first few episodes just cobbled together into one feature length movie.
Right. The first 3 or 4
That's what
episodes.
it felt like.
Yeah.
And why I say that too, and this is because of me how my expectations low, is that you would think, oh, it's because it's comic book and superheroes, well, sort of. Um, Also because it's Charlie Theron is leading here. You expect this thing to be some kind of big big budget extravaganza, but actually it's not. No, it's pretty, not so much low key, but it's just standard stuff that you would see like if you're just looking for some action film to pass the time and you just search through Netflix, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like, okay, they spent a ton of cash. Well, maybe they did, because yeah, they do some uh we'll skip it, basically just go from place to place,
Right.
basically. But yeah, but it to me, it didn't feel like it was some big lavish Hollywood production. It felt like,
Not
yeah, this easily could have
comparable
been a
to
TV show here.
Bloodshot. Right. Bloodshot was in theaters. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. It's
but
that.
they still had some effects. Like they throw some VFX in it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looked like
Yeah.
some out of the 2000s, but then again, that show felt like it was something from the 2000s. You know what I mean?
Right.
But still, you know what I mean? It just felt like, once again, like I was just watching a TV show on Netflix. Like, it could have been
Yeah.
I don't know, one of many TV shows on Netflix that we covered in this series here. But that to me is not a detriment to the show. It's just the way how it felt like to me, right? So I just kind of treat it as is, right? And as is, like you say, it's far from the best thing I've seen. I think a lot of people praise it to high heaven, and I understand why. Like, for one thing, they like the dramatic moments, and the character developments, all that kind of stuff. Cool, I understand that. I get, but for me, especially with us growing up on stuff like Highlander, and seeing stuff like this over the years, it's not new or shocking or groundbreaking for me. I think the only groundbreaking thing, but that's not really that much, is two of the, well, I would say the old guard teams themselves, right? Who are,
Right.
well, a gay couple, right? They yeah.
Right. Right.
I remember like a lot of critics zeroed in on the fact, like, oh well, we have these two guys and they're openly gay and all that kind of stuff. I'm like,
Right.
all right, that's nice, but that's not a reason for me to go ape shit over this movie. Just saying, just saying.
And then
But
again,
I actually
I
like the moments between the two of them, but it was like, oh my god, this is like the most groundbreaking thing I've ever seen. I remember
mm,
one reviewer, well, before I get to you, I remember one reviewer saying, oh, well, the MCU couldn't even do this, or Avengers couldn't even do this. This movie did. I'm like, all right, cool.
yeah, non-statement.
Yeah, like okay, this is the compare and contrast you're gonna throw at me. All right, cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so for me, and I imagine same thing for you, Ricardo. It just felt standard. It just felt like a
Yeah.
basic action film where it just has Charlie Theron as the lead. And she's great. I mean, she commands the screen every time she's there. And there are some really really decent action scenes. They are, most, well, a majority of them are bloody as well too. Not over the top bloody, but I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. You see like these immortals being shot up and whatnot, and then they'll go back, they'll pick themselves back up, and bullets will come out of the wounds and all that kind of stuff. Once
Right.
again, it's stuff that you've seen before, right? Even right down to the Highlander stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah.
well, characters living long and seeing their loved ones die. Like, we've seen that, right? Um, I thought that the thing with Andy and, well, her friend, well, assumed lover, actually Quinn. I thought that was like a really interesting little character
Yeah.
backstory moment that we got there. I thought that was really cool.
I felt like that made that explicit, so that's why I just assume friend.
Yeah, and then
Already
well,
like why hold back on that?
yeah. But the show like literally stops in the second act, like literally stops to have all these character moments. Like this other guy, what's his face? Booker, right?
Right.
Um, he's a Frenchman, and he apparently he fought under Napoleon, and there's this thing about him watching his son die, and it's all these little things there. But the thing is that the movie literally stops, like the flow just stops to have these character moments. And I get it, I understand, but still, it's like it's an action film. You have to have you have to have a certain momentum there. You know what I mean? And I just felt like oftentimes you'll just stop to have these overly dramatic moments, which, yes, I understand the story needs, but just like, all right, but you're literally pausing the show for this. So let it flow, right? Um, it's directed by Gina Price Bythewood. She did she actually did Love and Basketball actually, which
Yeah.
yes I remember really digging back in 2000. I thought that yeah I mean she did a really great job here. You know what I mean? And I think this is gonna be like the sell of the movie, that it's a female director pretty much directed a comic book movie and doing it justice, right? Because I'm not familiar with the source material, I kind of came out to this movie kind of expecting more, but it was just like, all right, it's just
Well,
okay.
how it
Immortal
ends.
mix, all right.
Yeah, how it ends. I was like, all right, well, we're getting a part two, or they're going to probably make a series out of this, or something like that. I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I wanted to mention that last, but yeah, they had the nerve. Yes, I have to say they had the nerve to
Yeah.
have this thing at the end, and I was like, all right. No, but at first when I saw the person involved, I was like, who's this? And then afterwards I thought about, it, I was like, oh, okay, we don't want to see with us. But you see, there was
Right.
like, yo, really, you really think it's a smart idea
Yeah.
to have this
Well,
this post credit scene, really?
I think I think the comic has extra material now, so it's like a series now. So it's like comic addresses all of that. So it's like it have a part two. So it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah,
And well, okay, so and then well, just last gripe I want to say, well, I'll probably might be one of a few more gripes. I felt like in terms of just the overall style, the overall aesthetic to it just felt like I was just watching just another Netflix action show. Like there were moments I like which really did feel like I was watching Extraction. You know what I mean? Which I mean that see that Extraction is a better show, and I've seen that, right? But yeah, like the whole mercenary stuff, doing the mission, shootouts, and people getting killed and all that kind of stuff. Like even the Extraction had a 12-minute like long take thread. Like say what you want about the movie, be yeah, you could deny if the movie is good or not, but at least you could take away that 12-minute scene. Here it's just like, all right, well, you have moments where characters get shot and pick back up and fight and
right,
grab medieval weapons and slice people. Okay, that's really the sell. Like you have to give us something that I will take out. Like, oh, this is what makes it stand out from the pack. You know what I mean? But I didn't really get that here. But then I do. I thought that the acting was great. Mostly, you know what I mean. I thought Charlie's was great. Kiki was great. The guys who were alongside her were great. I did have an issue with the mean body. I felt that he was just generic
yep,
pharmaceutical owner 101.
yeah,
I need to be, I need these people. I need to find out what makes them immortal. You know what I mean? The only thing he just misses is just a mustache to twirl around, right? Other than
right,
that, he
yeah,
just felt so basic, so by the numbers. Even Ejiofor, I was worried about him being kind of by the numbers too, but because of the backstory they gave with his wife, I was like, all right, I could kind of
yeah.
let your
Well,
your your two-dimensional character slide. I could let that slide. But last thing, I just want to say, I think overall my issue is just how familiar it all feels. You know what I mean? It just once again just feels like just stuff that we've seen before, concept that we've seen before. And then also too, I felt like dialogue wise, it was kind of like veering towards like okay, like I understand in that it's not the real world guys, so you're not gonna talk like real people do. But it just honestly felt like it was reading a comic book, which is kind of good and bad if you understand what I'm saying. Like some of the dialogue itself, not the way I was delivered, but the dialogue is kind of on the stilted generic side of things. That was just
yeah,
me. Yeah, just like, well, we must do this to stop this. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right,
yeah,
well, yeah, okay. This is a sci-fi original movie, kind of dial it back, folks. We get it, right? But yeah, other than that though, I mean, if well, before we get to your last thoughts, right? So I'll just do mine one time. If you're just looking for something to just pass the time, and you have 2 hours literally to spare, yeah, I mean, give this one a look, but don't go in expecting anything too out of the ordinary, too spectacular, too thing. As far as Charlie Theron as a action star goes, I would love to see him in more action films, and I mean, I'm not gonna say that this was a step down for her, but I wanted to see her do more. I'm intrigued by the world of the old guard, do, and I would like to see it built more with. Well, I guess once again, it could have been a series, but it's not with another movie. But for now, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you get. I watched it and it was like, all right, it's fine. Not that does not like what people how people hyped it up to be like, this game-changing action film. Like, it's not really that, right? But then after, like I say, if you have a little 2 hours to kill, yeah, give it a look. But I'm not too sure if um if it warrants a second viewing in a hurry. So rating wise, decent or strong 3 out of 5, man. It's aight for what it is. It's aight. So Ricardo, any thoughts or any more
Yeah,
thoughts on the show and rating?
not much to say. I mean, I pretty much all my complaints from Warrior Nun is in this more or less. You're doing a thing, you think it clever. It was hot shit kind of back in the 90s. Now it isn't. Like, if you're into this, fine. It was really bog standard. It had nothing really for me to latch onto or find it engaging or anything like that. But I have people out there who like this bullshit, so whatever. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to add on, to tell you the truth.
All right. So rating wise, what will you give this show?
Yeah, Warrior Nun, yeah, what, a 4 out of 10? Yeah, 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
This
4.
one was
Oh, you
not,
going
not
that low? Okay, you're not even gonna give it even a little blind.
No, yeah, it was really bog standard. It wasn't doing anything for me. It was really nothing there for me. So, if you're for at least to get a 5, you had to be like, all right, you're doing something. This wasn't doing anything. It's just kind of running in place, concept wise, not that interesting. It's like Highlander was way more interesting than this back when that was out. You
that
can't.
was like what 86 when the first movie came.
Yeah, you can't come with a thing. That's the thing. You can't come with the thing after the other major thing and then do surpass it. Like Highlander was superior in almost every way.
Yeah, and just concept wise, like, look, modern day warriors, right, fighting with swords in the real world,
well, that's
chopping heads off. Like, that's something you could take out of these movies. I mean, even though the quality just deteriorated after the first one. This one is just all right. You have immortal people, but they have guns and they shoot down people.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they had one thing that was kind of interesting, when Chiwetel tells she, oh, well, you being alive and shaping the world somehow, is incalculable.
Which you could explore, though, and then they just opted to go for this kind of, admittedly, kind of cheesy, that post-credit sequence, but yeah, end title sequence where you just seen a bunch of photos and, the typical, oh gosh, I forget what you call it, basically, where you see it in tons of shows where they have like a bunch of pictures and you always have like these little like threads, connecting each one, and that generic stuff now. I was just like, yeah, we all could explore this even more, though. But once again, it just felt like a Netflix show with a Netflix budget now instead of a big Hollywood thing,
Right. That's what I said. Nothing else to see.
Yeah, but if I have one last thing to say, though, I really would like to see what Gina does with the sequel, like if we do get one. Because I like to see this world expand even more, though. But I would say, though, that she really, hopefully she'll step things up story-wise, acting-wise, action-wise. Like, she really need to raise that bar a little bit longer. Here it's just like, all right, I gave my feet wet a little bit. Okay, cool. Now let me see how you can raise the stakes now with the second one. So, yeah, we'll see. If ever we get a sequel, that is.
Right.